Hey everybody, you are very welcome back to this next gaming episode number 5, and I hope you're all been having a great week. Today on the news segment we do have a few big juicy updates with the Final Fantasy XIV major content update releasing very soon, and of course we have huge Unity news. Have they destroyed developers? Will they have lost the trust of developers? Have they cleared their name in any little bit? We will find out. And the new FC soccer game is going to be here by EA. Yes, they have dropped the FIFA. And I recognize some of you may not be into sports, and you don't have to. We will make sure that this segment will be fun, okay? We will make it fun. And also a little apologies today. I do have a little bit of a stuffy nose and a little bit of a sore throat, but I'm sure we will be fine. I'll be just fine. So let's get it going! Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn originally released on August 2013 with its latest expansion in 2021 with Endwalker. Endwalker is getting another patch, expected to be the final patches of this year and until the next expansion, which launches in January 2024. The newest patch for Final Fantasy XIV has been dubbed Growing Light and will be released in 2 parts. 6.5 in early October, which will include standard fixes, new quests and trials, and some new bosses imported from the Final Fantasy compilation. I'll explain more about this at the end of this section and also include spoilers to make sure that, well, you don't get spoiled unless you want to get spoiled, or maybe you already know some of this information. 6.51 will release in late October, which will include additional changes and material to gear players up for the new expansion Dawnbringers coming in mid-January 2024. The inclusion of the Heavensward expansion will now be included in the free trial, where many players complained that it limited friends that were trying the game from experiencing the real gameplay experience. I guess we'll just have to wait until they come up with this exact same excuse for the next expansion, or should I say the follow-up expansion, which will be Stormblood. You gotta play until at least Stormblood before Final Fantasy XIV gets good. Yeah, I might be still sour that I thought the game was absolutely so goddamn boring for the first 50 hours. Ah well, that's one game I'm just not gonna try. Narrative-driven AI features now allow people to play Fates and other group quests solo rather than with other players. It will be extended right up until Endwalker content. Alliance Raid Duty Roulette will now group people based on their job level rather than their gear level to prevent high-level players entering low-level duties by removing their gear before queuing. This is a debatable inclusion if this is a good or bad thing by players. Dice slots on gear will be expanded, and most items will now have the option of having 2 different colours added. Along with Mog Station purchases will now be able to be stored in the armory, which will clear up huge inventory space. The Island Sanctuary will be getting an addition of the infamous Morbil, aka the Marlborough, to the list of the Sanctuary monsters. Other new features to the Island Sanctuary updates will include new ranks and visions, new gathering areas in the wild, and a new reward system feature called the Felicious Favours. Now guys, a little bit of a spoiler warning. Feel free to click on the next timestamp on the video if you want to skip past this minor spoiler warning. But coming back to the new bosses added will include the final boss of Final Fantasy IV, which is Zeramis, and also a callback to the Heavensward expansion showdown with Torden. Now we're going to catch up with some industry news and check in with the Unity drama that's been taking place over the last couple of weeks. If you can remember, in episode 3, check the card up above me right now if you want to see that video first to get up to date with what I'm about to talk about. They have now released an update to their policy after a gigantic community backlash where developers threatened to stop using it, where creators have been voicing their opinions and, you know, broadcasting the greater anguish of the gamer community, and it has literally all backfired on Unity. So they have come out with some updates. Let's have a look at them right now. So from November, users need a Unity ID and log in at least once every 30 days due to needing an active internet. Now, I don't personally see this as a big deal. The already proposed runtime fee will now only apply from 2024 onwards, and existing shipped products won't count. Before, it was going to be that everything since the announcement of the policy up until 2024 was also going to be backdated and added in. They have reversed that decision, which in all fairness is a fantastic decision. And once again, I need to highlight and stress very clearly that this only happened due to the backlash. They have been trying their best with management to get them to revert some decisions lately, and even before the policy came into effect, they were saying this was a bad idea. Now, there's also been a massive walk back on the next point, where now only games that made over $1 million in a 12-month time frame will be subject to the fee. They will pay either 2.5% of their revenue share or a calculation based on unique initial engagements, whichever number is lower. And also there's a 4% ceiling, so it will be limited to the game's revenue up to 4% maximum. And this is a little bit closer to what Unreal Engine offers with their product right now, so at least they're kind of fine-tuning it. Businesses need to make money, and evidently Unity feels that they do need to make more money because they are not being as profitable as they wish. And if they want to continue to invest in R&D, research and development, for greater products in the future or better product offerings, you know, they may need this extra sum of cash. However, they went about it a completely bad way, in complete bad faith, and were almost in a way trying to bankrupt people. They came out and stated that was not their intention and they would have never bankrupted anybody. But that's not how the entire internet, which was reacting on this, saw it. And they also did ensure that they will work with their customers to develop tools and resources to make this process as easy as possible. Personal users on the non-paid version of Unity won't have to upgrade unless they reach 200k or more dollars per year, which brings it a little bit closer to how Unreal Engine works with their 1 million. And I'm not saying it in terms of the proposition value, in terms of a monetary value, but when it comes to the de facto line of we make money when you make money, you know, what's fair is fair. This is a much more fairer approach. Pirate copies of games won't cost as well as trade shows, or if it's charity, if it's installed on extra devices, if it's reinstalled again and again and again. So one of the biggest discourses that people had with the initial announcement was there was a fear that there would be some sort of hate bombing, where someone could create a program, for example, and download a game hundreds if not thousands of times, and that charge would have went to developers because the previous policy was based on how many times a game was downloaded, and there was no clarity to the policy if it would affect things such as pirated copies, etc. They're also, funnily enough, removing the splash screen. So in case people don't know what a splash screen is when you see the Unity logo pop up when you start a game, for example. Imagine a world where you have sown so much discourse, you have planted the seeds of discontent. You no longer want to show your face when a game loads up. That's exactly what Unity is doing. They are ensuring that people who use their engine don't need to advertise that they are using their engine, because they know that customers will not play that game if they see it is created through Unity. Like, you must know that you have made a colossal F up for that to happen. Although I do believe this is overall better, it does not mean it's good for developers. Remember, people, they were forced to do this because of the backlash. If there was no backlash, they would have happily charged developers and publishers alike per install. With the carry-on that Unity has given, it is no wonder that the trust has been broken. There will still be uncertainty in the community at large, right? Because management can't be trusted, Leadership can't be trusted, because who's to say they're not going to do this again, that they're not going to try and maybe a couple of years down the line try a ploy like this again, or up their prices even further. Which leads us to a final point, that trust can take a moment to develop, but can take a lifetime to mend if broken. And that's where we are with Unity right now. They have soiled their name. Other engines have pretty much took a win, an easy win, easy marketing. Developers have flocked or intend to flock to them. And even though there are promising changes to the policy, once again, this policy should have never existed in its original form. Unity have come out and spoken that they should have listened to more people, to more of their community. If they did, I'm very sure if they just put out some extra feelers in the community at large, they would have known very quickly that this would have been a very, very bad idea. When the fire gets so large, it's impossible or extremely hard to douse. But if you can at least fan those flames and then spread it out a little bit, it will be a lot easier to conquer and divide. So if they can appease enough people, they know they won't be able to appease everybody, but if they can appease enough people with these changes, they'll be okay. At least, so we think. There has been incredible brand damage due to this. And that's where we have it, people. So 2 or 3 weeks of absolute industry hell. I guess we'll only have to wait for time to tell what's going to happen from here on out. So let's do that. And next up we have EA Sports FC, which just released. And before I kick off, see what I did there? Despite it being known as the world's game, maybe you call it soccer, maybe you call it football, or maybe something else entirely, it is indeed the world's most popular game. However, do not be fooled. That does not mean it is the world's game, because not everybody plays it. There are many who hate it, and although hate is a strong word, I don't dissociate myself entirely from the word. However, I would say that I dislike it. I much rather a sport like rugby, as an example. However, I will give this a completely fair overview until at least my bias kicks in, which is going to be probably around the most controversial part of this segment, which ultimately will involve Pokemon trading cards and loot boxes. For the first time, EA have dropped the FIFA title and are going in their own direction after the developer and organization parted ways. Available on PC and all consoles bar the Switch, because the Switch runs like a potato, unlike these fine soccer players. The game hosts a new technology they dub the Hypermotion V Volumetric, which sounds like a shampoo, or at least a very active ingredient of said shampoo for very gullible men. Amen. So easy to market to. I can't wait for my Turboglide XL7 Supersonic Speed Hyperdrive Mega Focused Razor is in my hands very, very soon. Luscious. From what has been seen, players still fall all over each other in unnatural ways, and AI learning is being talked about as a very hit and miss experience, with players doing some very stupid mistakes or goalies leaving in simple goals. The shampoo sounding technology basically is motion capture that not only captures their hair and expressions better, but the style of their movements too. Playstyles are a way to summarize each player's gifts outside a simple raw number, such as incisive pass, long ball pass, etc. If they were my gifts, they would probably include the power of procrastination, ooh shiny, point, or maybe even T-powered. I do like a good cuppa. That's the stuff, that's the good stuff right there. The game features some extra things like orbital dribble, allowing you to swivel your player around the ball without touching it, gain better angles, precision passes, to apply a bit more bedazzle and extra zip to your passes or crosses, along with extra excitement from your controller, which will buzz with amusement. Generally on release, each game has a plethora of problems, not unlike a lot of other games nowadays, and usually gets patched over time. Some years have been better than others, but there is always some sort of advancement. Almost like a new iPhone, some releases show a lot more promise and advancements than others. The game is trying to bring a better and convincing sense to the game of soccer, with slower pace and rewarding of skill. However, since it's a yearly game, any polish it will have will only most likely be outdone by next year's offering. So kinda like, why bother shelling out for this extra cash right now, you know? Now onto Ultimate Team, the colossal mind drudgery and bane to every gamer's existence, and of course the exploitation of gamers, because this has appeared in multiple courtrooms. This has been the subject, even a key subject, in some of these courtroom hearings. And by the way, it's still being decided in many courtrooms around the world, are loot boxes a bannable offense because they are gambling? Some countries have banned loot boxes entirely, but we have countries such as the UK, which is gigantic with this game of soccer, still deciding if that is to be the case. Ultimate Team is a cross between Football Manager, which I actually enjoyed back in the day, and Pokemon, which I still sometimes enjoy as well. In Ultimate Team, you can assemble your own super group of mutant footballers with digital Pokemon trading cards and battle them out online against other trainers and their collection of X-Men. This is where the real money comes in, as you exchange real money for your random Pokemon cards, aka loot boxes. Technically, you can earn in-game currency by playing matches, but let's not even go into that because lol. As much as spending money on loot boxes is already an awful practice which has been plaguing gamers for years, it's even worse when you go online and you don't know how big of a whale you are up against in your next match. The troubling thing is many players are aware of these scummy tactics, yet they can't deny how much fun they have with it. Ah yes, EA Sports, where men will show the size of their wallets to other men. Significant others worldwide, rejoice, as your partner will spend thousands on Pokemon and can't even take you out for a lovely romantic meal, where they will spend countless hours gloating about how large their wallet is, or bemoaning the fact that it is so unfair, they have outspent me. Ah, partners around the world rejoice. This year won't be any different. I guarantee it. May I suggest a humble game of Baldur's Gate 3, where you only have to get jealous of this hot, steamy romance encounters. And well, Halcyon, because Halcyon. Moving on, the era of FIFA and EA may be over, but the world's game is still alive and kicking. For better or for worse. Counter-Strike 2 is the largest technical leap forward in Counter-Strike's history, ensuring new features and updates for years to come. Counter-Strike 2 is a free upgrade to CSGO, so build your loadout, hone your skills, and prepare yourself for what's next. Counter-Strike 2 begins its initiative on PC September 27th. A battle between 7 pairs of masters and servants is about to begin in the Edo period Japan. A holy grail war is about to unfold, as does the waxing moon ritual in the shadows. Fate Samurai Remnant is an action RPG where players take control of Miyamoto, whom has a wide array of stances players can switch between on the fly with her dual katanas, while giving commands to her faithful servant. Fate Samurai Remnant flurry slashes its way through PC, PS and Switch on September 29th. Cocoon takes you on an adventure across worlds within worlds. Master world-leaping mechanics to unravel the cosmic mystery. Cocoon is a unique take on the puzzle adventure genre, where each world exists within an orb that you can carry on your back. Cocoon's shell cracks open on all platforms and PC September 29th. Hellboy Web of Weird is a third-person beat-em-up roguelike with an original story. Chaining together attacks to create combos, both Hellboy and other enemies must brawl in this comic-style art. Hellboy rage punches its way onto both PC and consoles on October 4th. The lovable Detective Pikachu Returns is back in a new adventure game alongside his partner Tim Goodman to discover the disappearance of his father. Detective Pikachu is back to investigate, only to be discovered on the Switch, October 6th. And that's it. That's the end of the news for today. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, guys, and I hope to see you very soon on another episode. Now, if you did like this content and new content to come in the future, make sure, can you please press that lovely like button. If you haven't yet subscribed and you want to see more of me, click that subscription button as well. And if you're feeling a little bit generous, if you do have a spare euro or $1.50 handy, and you want to help support the creation of these videos, we do have a brand new Patreon, which will include new and exclusive videos which won't be shown anywhere else. Or you can consider the new membership option over on YouTube. But either way, regardless, thank you so much for viewing today, and let's keep this series going. I'm having a lot of fun making it, and despite I'm a little bit under the weather today, I hope, well, at least I'm not dead. I'm not dead yet, I've survived, but I hope by the next time that I see you, I'll be completely refreshed. Anyway, until then, guys, have a good one. Sláinte.